Hello, fellow Whovians. Welcome, one and all. Our last Halloween episode of 2020 as we enter the fall. We've had cosplayers, fun with monster games with a plethora of different hosts. Even an episode where we asked the question, does the doctor believe in ghosts? Now it's Lake Geneva, the year is 1816, in a place that seems very lofty. For tonight, our friends do a special performance based on the haunting of Villa Diodati. So for now, I'll shut up, as I don't want to continue to bore you. For tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the legend of the traveling TARDIS presents Phantasmagoria. My name is Christian Basil. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a TARDIS. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend.
Ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls,
Boys and girls,
and all the diversity of spirits
spirits
spirits,
that have followed us down through the centuries.
we are members of Phantasmagoria, and we welcome you here tonight to this very special Halloween edition of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Wait. Isn't that Christian Basil's show?
Yes.
the one about Doctor Who.
Yes.
what's a Doctor Who?
Later, Simmarine.
Then what on Zeus's thunderous mountaintop do we, Victorian Horror Troupe, have to do with Doctor Who?
Oh, I am glad you asked that.
Wait, what's a Doctor Who?
You mean who's a Doctor Who, not a what?
Well, we both have a chaotic relationship with time itself.
True.
True.
We both blend history, fiction, and mythology together into one large speculative stew.
True.
True.
So Doctor Who is a chef then?
Well, no, she's more of what they call a Time Lord from a planet called Gallifrey. You see, people assume that time is a strict progression to cause to effect, but actually from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
But that brings us back to the question, why are we here?
Oh, well, I think the question tonight is more who are we here? Or perhaps when are we here?
Ah, now you have my curiosity piqued.
As is mine.
I am still trying to figure out who is.
What if I were to tell you that we both have visited a moment in time which by many is considered the birthplace of modern day horror?
You don't mean
Oh, yes.
June 1816.
the shore of Lake Geneva.
Oh, yes.
Wait, you don't mean...
Diodati.
Diodati.
But tonight, we are going to dabble in another universe. One not of our own making, but one that quite recently the 13th Doctor and her companions visited.
Season 12.
Episode 8.
The Haunting of Villa Diodati.
For it seems the whole story there was not told. Of a night in June that gave birth to some of the greatest tales of terror ever told.
Tales that would inspire many authors to come.
And grant immortality to all those in attendance that night.
An homage, as it were, to the place and time where Phantasmagoria and Doctor Who intersect, and the stories created come to life.
For the stories born in that June have lived forever. And tonight we give you a little taste of them and those who brought them to life. Now, this is online theatre. And during online theatre, things sometimes freeze or the sound goes wrong. So please bear with us if there are any mistakes as we go. Now, let us return to that time and to those stories that the Doctor herself inspired, where Lord George Gordon Byron,
Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, soon to be known as Mary Shelley,
Dr. John Polidori,
And Mary's stepsister Claire Claremont
gathered together at the glorious Villa Diodati, while nightmares and horrors sprung to life during what would be known as the year without a summer. And yet the storm rages on. This miserable weather continues unabated. Hell is empty, and all the devils are here.
What are you muttering about, Lord Byron?
Nothing, Miss Claremont, nothing at all. Simply ruminating on the events of the last few nights, that's all.
Oh, well, if it's all the same to you, I'd prefer not to speak of it. I am profoundly exhausted. Shall we simply not pretend all it was just a bad dream?
Oh, yes, a dream. Yes, perhaps. What of you, Ms. Godwin? Have we awoken from the supposed dream, or are we still in the throes of it, I wonder,
Miss Shelley? Mary? Mary?
My word, you gave me a start. What is it?
Mary, how could you possibly read in a time like this?
Not much else can be done on a night such as this.
And what work of literature have you lost yourself in now?
Phantasmagoriana, Lord Byron. Tales of macabre horror to chill the spine. Deeply fascinating. I believe you were reading a passage from it the other evening before...
Oh, yes, and speak of the devil. Welcome back, Dr. Polidori. I trust you found your way all right. No more shifting rooms, no more endless staircases.
No, Byron. The house seems to have settled for the moment.
And my sweet Percy, is he doing all right?
I administered a tincture of laudanum. He is resting soundly.
Oh, sounds delightful. I don't suppose you have any more.
Byron!
What? It's been a tough weekend.
Do not start, Byron. I'm not in the mood to indulge your cravings or your perverse sense of humor.
Fine.
Did you check on William as well, Dr. Polidori?
As you requested, Miss Shelley. Your son is in his crib, sleeping like a baby, as they say.
Thank you.
Well, I'd say this calls for a celebration. Who's for a drink?
How could you possibly, at a time like this?
Yes. Well, I'll have one. How about you? Yes.
yes.
Very good, Miss Claremont and Miss Godwin.
Shelley, I suppose.
Perfect. I won't insult myself to ask you, Polidori.
I'd rather refrain.
Which is why I didn't ask. Fletcher! Would you mind? Fletcher! Oh, yes, of course. Well, I suppose I shall serve myself.
Characteristically flippant, even at the death of your own servant. A new low even for you, Byron.
Who's being flippant? Fletcher dead, my villa in disarray, between the broken windows, smashed furniture, lightning scorch marks all over the place. This weekend has cost me a fortune. And what of the public across the lake, Constantly spying on us, spreading gossip. Lord knows what they must be saying at this moment.
Your money and your image, is that all you think about?
Besides my talent and good looks, that's all I have.
And not even a mention of the poor maid of Elsie.
Oh, I was getting to her. How's your French, Polidori? You would make a suitable replacement, I'd wager. You obviously have experience as a nursemaid.
Oh, you dare! Shall we duel, sir?
You don't have the nerve!
Gentlemen, enough! Now, I understand we have all been under terrible duress these last few nights, but getting at each other's throats will do us no good. Byron, you shall hold your tongue, understood?
Only if the good doctor here keeps his pistol in his pants.
And Dr. Polidori?
You shall have no further outbursts from me, Miss Shelley.
Good. Now, I believe we must have a reckoning. We must discuss what happened.
Could we not? I mean, the doctor seemed to think the danger had passed.
I said nothing of the sort.
No, the other doctor.
Who?
The female doctor, you fool. And well, as much as I am loath to contradict such a charming visitor, I believe this house still harbors some sort of residual aura. Evil still roams these halls. I have felt it all night. Perhaps this, what did she call it? This something or other. Thank you, Miss Claremont. Yes, this Siberium phantom demon, whatever it is, still haunts my beloved Villa Diodati. You've all felt it too. I know you have. Oh, what's the matter, Polidori? You look even paler than usual. Did I strike a nerve, perhaps?
It's just something happened when I went to see Percy.
Yes?
Just before he drifted off, he grabbed my arm and he began to recite. The words were his writings. I know his style so well, but it was a piece I'd never heard before. It was the strangest thing. I could see them in my mind, the words, the pictures they conveyed, as clearly as my own thoughts.
What did you see?
2 vast and trunkless legs of stone standing in the desert.
And the words?
And on the pedestal these words appear: "My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look at my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away."
Oh, very evocative, yes. That does very much sound like something Percy would write. At the very least, I doubt Dr. Polidori here could rip something up just as good just to bluff us.
I'm sure it was nothing, just the imagination of my exhausted mind, nothing more.
Or
what?
I don't quite know yet, but I have some theories. Percy wasn't the only one struck with inspiration last evening.
Oh, have you been writing, Byron?
Something like that. It felt less like writing and more like transcribing, as though I was merely jotting down the memories of some shared illusion, some shared dream.
Shared illusion, preposterous.
You're a man of science, Polidori. Perhaps an experiment is in order. Mary, would you mind taking my hand?
What trick is this, Lord Byron?
No trick. Just indulge me, please. I had a dream.
Which was not all a dream.
Ah!
Parlor games.
Miss Claremont. The bright sun was extinguished, and the stars did wander darkling in the eternal space, rayless and pathless, and the icy earth swung blind and blackening in the moonlight air.
Morn came and went, and came and brought no day, and men forgot their passions in the dread of this, their desolation.
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 And all hearts were chilled into a selfish prayer for light. Dr. Polidori, please.
Fine. And they did live by watchfires, and the thrones, the palaces of crowned kings, the huts, the inhabitations of all things which dwell were burnt for beacons.
Cities were consumed, and man gathered round their blazing homes, took once more into each other's space. Happy were those who dwelt within the eye of the volcanoes and their mountain torch.
A fearful hope was all the world contained.
All earth was but one thought, and that was death.
The world was void.
The populous and the powerful was a lump.
Seasonless, herbless, treeless, lifeless, manless.
A lump of death, a cold chaos of hard clay.
The rivers, lakes, and oceans all stood still, and nothing stirred within their silent depths. Ships, sailorless, lay rotting on the sea, and their masts fell down piecemeal as they dropped. They slept on the abyss without a surge. The waves were dead. The tides were in their grave. The moon, their mistress, had expired before. The winds were withered in the stagnant air, and the clouds perished. Darkness had no need of aid from them. She was the universe.
She was the universe.
The universe.
The universe.
What was that?
Darkness, my dear Polidori. My latest work. And a damn good one if I do say so myself.
It was a shared dream.
Lord Byron,
Yes, Miss Claremont.
did you write that about the doctor?
About Polidori? Good God, no.
The
Why would I?
female doctor.
Oh. Well, she certainly did make an impression.
Byron, I believe I shall have that drink now.
And that drink you shall have, and Christian Basil, one for you as well as we go to commercial break.
Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish.
Santa, if there's one thing I want for Christmas more than anything, it's someone to spend Christmas with. Someone who really wants me to be there.
Head to the mountains of East Tennessee with romance author Jenna Hart for a Christmas writer's workshop. Since her mother passed after a long illness, Jenna has had one wish. She doesn't want to spend Christmas alone. Meeting Niccolo Maldini, cover model and actor, could make more than Jenna's Christmas wish come true. Unless Ember, Niccolo's ex-girlfriend, does something crazy to stop them from being together. It's a mountain Christmas romance you won't want to miss in Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish. Now on Amazon.com. Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
Polidori! The depths of your skepticism continue to astound me.
All I am saying is that there has to be a rational, scientific explanation for the things we have witnessed. I refuse to indulge in fantasies and superstition. I am no
You could have
Puritan.
fooled me.
We have been stuck in this dreary villa all summer, with only ourselves and our late servants as company. Acute cabin fever, manifesting as a shared delusion, nothing
No,
more.
it was a shared delusion that we witnessed when the bones of a 15th century soldier reanimated to attack us.
Another of your childish pranks, no doubt.
You wound me, Doctor. I assure you that is not the case. Besides, those remains were far too rare and expensive to be used in one of my childish pranks. What of that otherworldly creature? That golem that rampaged through this house, inhuman strength, disappearing at the blink of an eye, the very element at its command. The doctor called it a
Cyberman.
correct, Miss Claremont. And may I say, you have maintained your effervescent beauty and poise throughout this entire ordeal.
You may not.
Fair enough. Was this Cyberman a delusion as well, Polidori? A delusion that managed to destroy half my villa and kill my servant?
A malfunctioning automata. Highly advanced, no doubt, but nothing more than a machine, a sideshow attraction.
No, it was a man. Under all that metal, there was a man in there. I looked into his eyes, his soul. He spoke to me. He had a name. Assad.
Demon or man, machine or spectre. The point is that we all saw it. Well, perhaps not Polidori here. He spent half the evening in another one of his sleepwalking fits.
My somnambulism is none of your concern.
It becomes my concern, sir, when I watch you somnambule your way directly through the wall of my study. Which chapter of your medical text is that covered in?
Not in my medical books, no, but perhaps I must make a confession. After yet another sleepless night last evening, I too found myself with a quill in my hand.
You! A writer! Oh, please! Now, who's indulging in fantasies?
I use fantasy to explore reality, Byron. You merely use it to escape it.
Go on, Dr. Polidori. Tell us of your story.
I'm still formulating it, but it is a tale of the horror hiding in plain sight, walking among us, but not one of us. The superstition upon which my tale is founded is that of the dead, rising from their graves and feeding upon the blood of the young and beautiful. The tale of an aristocrat who sucks those he loves dry, of both love and spirit. Sound familiar, Byron?
Oh, yes, because I already wrote it. Or a fragment, at least.
That's right. Byron wrote a poem about a vampire, didn't he? How did it go again?
But first on earth, as vampires sent, thy corpse shall from its tomb be rent, and ghastly haunt thy native place, and suck the blood of all thy race.
There, from thy daughter, sister, wife, at midnight drain the stream of life. Yet lo the banquet which perforce must feed thy livid, living corpse.
But one that for thy cry must fall, the youngest, most beloved of all, shall bless thee with a father's name, that word shall wrap thy heart in flame.
Then with unhallowed hand shall tear
the tresses of her yellow hair,
of which in life a lock when shorn,
affection's fondest pledge was worn.
Shh. But now is borne away by thee, memorial of thine agony.
I suppose I must confess your work may have had some influence, Byron.
Please, indulge us in your tale, Polidori. I'm dying to hear it.
Oh, yes, please. By all means.
Shall I tell, then, of the vampiric aristocrat himself, whose name is Lord...
Careful!
Ruthven, a nobleman more remarkable for his singularities than his rank, one who gazed upon the mirth around him with his dead grey eye, as if he could not participate therein.
Oh, let us perhaps not start there. That brings a dire chill to my bones.
Perhaps, then, we should start instead at the part of my tale that tells of the tragedy of the love of our hero Aubrey, for Ruthven can never be a true hero. And the love and loss of the innocent Ianthe, who begged him to return one night to quell her fear of the vampire.
Yes, that is a lovely place to start. Shall we do the hand thing again? It's such a marvelous trick.
My dear, if you wish to caress me, you need only to ask.
When Aubrey was about to depart, his love Ianthe came to the side of his horse and earnestly begged of him to return. And night allowed the power of these beings to be put in action. He promised.
He was, however, so occupied in his research that he did not perceive that daylight would soon end in that devoted country.
He at last, however, mounted his horse, determined to make up speed for his delay.
But it was too late. Twilight in these southern climates is almost unknown. Immediately the sun sets, the night begins, and ere he had advanced far, the power of the storm was above.
Its echoing thunders had scarcely an interval of rest. Its thick, heavy rain forced its way through the canopying foliage, whilst the blue forked lightning steamed to fall and radiate at his very feet.
Suddenly his horse took fright, and he was carried with dreadful rapidity through the entangled forest. The animal, at last, through fatigue, stopped, and he found by the glare of lightning that he was in the neighborhood of a hovel that hardly lifted itself up from the masses of dead leaves and brushwood which surrounded it.
Dismounting, he approached, hoping to find someone to guide him through the town, or at least stressing to obtain shelter from the pelting of the storm.
As he approached, the thunders, for a moment silent, allowed him to hear the dreadful shrieks of a woman, mingling with the stifled, exultant mockery of a laugh, continued in one almost unbroken sound.
He was startled, but roused by the thunder which again rolled over his head, he, with a sudden effort, forced open the door of the hut.
He found himself in utter darkness. The sound, however, guided him. He was apparently unperceived, for though he called, still the sounds continued, and no notice was taken of him.
He found himself in contact with someone whom he immediately seized, when a voice cried and a loud laugh succeeded, and he felt himself grappled by one whose strength seemed superhuman.
He struggled, but it was in vain. He was lifted from his feet and hurled with enormous force against the ground.
His enemy threw himself upon him, and kneeling upon his breast, placed his hands upon his throat.
When the glare of many torches penetrating through the hole gave light in the day, disturbed him, he instantly rose, and leaving his prey, rushed through the door. And in a moment the crashing of the branches as he broke through the wood was no longer heard.
The storm was still now, and Aubrey, incapable of moving, was soon heard by those without.
They entered. The light of their torches fell upon the mud walls, and the thatch loaded on every individual straw with heavy flakes of soot.
But that was his horror, when the light of the torches once more burst upon him to perceive the airy form of his love wrapped in a lifeless corpse.
He shut his eyes, hoping that it was but a vision arising from his disturbed imagination, but he again saw the same form when he unclosed them, stretched by his side.
She who had lately been to him the object of so many bright and fairy visions, now fallen with the flower of life that had died within her.
There was no color upon her cheek, not even upon her lip, yet there was a stillness about her face that seemed almost as if attaching as the life that once dwelt there.
Upon her neck and breast were blood, and upon her throat were the marks of teeth, having opened the vein.
To this the men pointed, crying, simultaneously struck with horror.
A vampire!
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 Well, Polidori, I have to admit your story certainly has potential. Perhaps I could do you the kindness of putting my name on it. No doubt it would sell better that way.
Not on your life. The world has had enough of your words. Could use some of my own.
Words. Words matter.
What was that, Mary?
It was something the doctor said about how one's deeds can ripple through the centuries. Words matter. And I thought she was just speaking of Percy's words, but I now realize she was speaking about all of us. We have all been touched by what happened in this place, and we will, in turn, send our words out into the universe in ways we can't possibly know. I've been running from my fear for far too long. I need to face my own creation.
I'm not sure I understand. Mary, what are you saying?
I'm saying I've written something too.
Let us give Miss Godwin a moment to contemplate what is about to happen. Christian, my friend, back to you, sir.
Hi, I'm Claudia Christian with some exciting updates in the Sinclair Method world. First of all, we launched our new coaching page. It's yoursinclairmethod.com, so you can go there and book a session with one of our fabulous coaches. You can also reach that page by visiting c3foundation.org. It's at the top of the landing page of the website. The second piece of news is Journeys is out. Woohoo! This book has been a long time in the making, and it is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your local bookstore, and there's a limited amount of signed copies at c3foundation.org. So get your copy of Journeys now and visit the coaching page for some wonderful support. If you're on the Sinclair method, you can book a session with a variety of different coaches. Take care and be well.
You have more options than ever before when choosing a film, a television or internet series, a book to curl up with, or even a radio show or podcast. Get to know the people who are creating for you. The Hangin' With Web Show, hosted by award-winning author and journalist G.W. Pomacher, is the internet's fastest-growing web talk show series. The Hangin' With Web Show features professional, yet casual, in-depth interviews with creative arts and entertainment pros. Meet the people behind a digital revolution in creating more quality content than ever before in the history of media. Find the Hangin' With Web Show on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or simply go to www.hanginwithshow.com. That's www.hanginwithshow.com.
What? What was that, Mary?
I said, I wrote something last night too.
First Percy, and I, then Dr. Polidori, and now Mary Godwin has written something as well. 4 writers under one roof. Oh, the field is getting overcrowded. I might just have to change professions.
Promises, promises, Byron.
I don't suppose you have a manuscript you've been withholding from us too, Miss Claremont?
Well, no.
Ever since that night, I've not been able to get the image of the Cyberman out of my mind. He was so full of rage, confusion, and yet seemed to be unburdened with some horrible purpose. And beneath it all, there was a great sadness in his eyes. Whatever horrifying machinations birthed him, he has been at war with himself ever since.
And there was such power inside of him. I saw him reach to the heavens and bring down lightning, like Prometheus bringing the first fire to man.
Was the Doctor his creator, perhaps?
It's possible. They did seem to have a history. She remains an enigma to me. But then again, she seems to be a mystery to even her companions. She seemed so lonely. Like you said, Dr. Polidori, she walks among us, but she is not one of us. Alone at the summit of all knowledge, doing everything in her power to stem the tides of darkness, succeeding in bringing a bright, quiet dawn, if only for a moment.
And yet, the evil that she brought in her wake still echoes through all of these chambers.
No, Byron. She did not bring the evil here. The evil has always been here. It infected the heart of humanity long ago, just like that swirling mass that infected Percy. No, the Doctor brought us the flame of knowledge. It is up to us now to decide how to use it, for good or for ill.
Mary is right. When I look upon these walls, I see not evil. I see something quite different. I see the joyous memories we 5 have made in this place. I breathe freely in the neighborhood of this lake. I trod the floors with the same feelings of awe and respect as we did together, those of Shakespeare's dwelling at Stratford. And when I look out over that lake at the storms, I see beauty. Beauty you yourself have seen, my lord, if beauty you ever can.
True. I suppose there's always beauty in darkness.
The sky is changed, and such a change, O night, and storms and darkness, ye are wondrous strong, yet lovely in your strength, as is the light of a dark eye in woman, most glorious night.
How romantic. and seen through spectacles of rose glass. What do you see, Mary, as you look out over the lake?
I see the darkness and storm increase every minute, and the thunder burst with a terrific crash over our heads. Vivid flashes of lightning dazzle my eyes. The storm appears to be at once in various parts of the heavens. This noble war in the sky does not diminish, but it elevates the spirit.
And what do you see in that storm, Miss Godwin?
I see the tale that has been brewing in my mind since last night, and perhaps before. I must exorcise it. The tale must be told.
What sort of tale?
One which would speak to the mysterious fears of our nature and awaken the thrilling horror. One to make the reader dread to look around, to curdle the blood and quicken the beatings of the heart.
And what heart beats at the center of this tale?
Take my hand. We shall face the darkness together. One final time. I see, with shut eyes, but acute mental vision, the pale student of unhallowed arts.
I see it. I see it too.
Kneeling beside the thing he had put together, I saw the hideous phantasm of a man stretched out, show signs of life, and stir with an uneasy half-vital motion. Frightful it must be, for supremely frightful will be the effect of any human endeavor to mock the stupendous mechanism of the creator of the world.
No, Mary! His success would terrify the artist! He would rush away from his odious handiwork, horror-stricken!
He would hope that, left to itself the light, slight spark of life which had communicated would fade, that this thing would subside into dead matter, and that the silence of the grave would quench forever the transient existence of this hideous corpse.
Have we perhaps lost ourselves? Is this madness?
No, this is not the vision of a madman. I now affirm this to be true. Victor Frankenstein became capable of bestowing animation upon lifeless matter, and therefore bestowing life to my story. It was on a dreary night of November that
I beheld the accomplishments of my toils, and with an anxiety that almost amounted to agony, collected the instruments of life around me.
That he might infuse a spark of life into the lifeless thing that lay at his feet.
the rain pattered dismally against the panes, and the candle was nearly burnt out, when, by the glimmer of the half-extinguished light, he saw the dull yellow eye of the creature open.
His yellow skin scarcely covered the work of muscles and arteries beneath. His hair was of a lustrous black and flowing.
But these luxuriances only form more horrid contrasts from his watery eyes, shriveled complexion, and straight black lips.
For this I had deprived myself of rest and health. But now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and the breathless horror and disgust filled my heart.
Unable to endure the aspect of the being he had created, Victor rushed out of the room to his bedchamber, where a fitful nightmare-filled sleep finally enveloped him.
He started from his sleep with horror. A cold dew covered his forehead, teeth chattered, and every limb became convulsed.
When, by the dim and yellow light of the moon, I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created.
His jaws opened, and he muttered some inarticulate sounds while a grin wrinkled across his cheeks. One hand was stretched out.
I escaped, and I rushed down the stairs and took refuge in the courtyard, where I remained the rest of the night.
And as the father vanished,
so did his son.
But these two, locked together in life and death, were fated to meet again, after death and misery had touched both of them.
And in that time apart, Victor's hideous progeny had grown in love and humanity, intelligence and grace.
Also in blood and revenge.
We rest. A dream has power to poison sleep. We rise. One wandering thought pollutes the day. We feel, conceive or reason, laugh or weep, embrace fond woe to cast our cares away.
It is the same.
The same, Father.
Devil! Do you dare approach me? Be gone! Or rather stay, that I may trample you to dust!
All men hate the wretched. How then must I be hated, whom am miserable beyond all living things? I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather a fallen angel. Misery makes me a fiend. Make me happy, and I will again be virtuous. You must create a female for me. We shall be monsters together, cut off from the world.
Shall I set loose upon the earth a demon whose delight is death and wretchedness? Be gone!
No! Beware! Your hours shall pass in dread and misery. I will glut the maw of death and be satiated with the blood of your remaining friends. Remember this. I shall be with you on your wedding night.
And his creature, Victor's son, my son, held true to his promises, destroying Victor by murdering his dear friend Clerval and his love-to-be, Elizabeth, as he prophesied on their wedding night before taking his father's life. All these deaths on the head of he who sought to take from God the very fire of life.
What does it avail that I now ask thee to pardon me? I, whom irretrievably destroyed thee by destroying all thou lovest.
If you had listened to the voice of conscience and heeded the strings of remorse, all yet would have lived.
Mother, do you dream?
Of course I dream, and always of you.
Do you think I was dead to agony and remorse? No sympathy may I ever find. I am alone. Where can I find rest but in death?
He then left me, and in us the last of mankind, whom his eyes will ever behold.
I shall die, and these burning miseries will be extinct, and I shall ascend my funeral pile triumphantly and exult in the agony of the torturing flames. My spirit will sleep in peace. Farewell.
He was soon borne away.
And lost in darkness and distance.
Farewell, my son.
Mary, that was truly an impressive tale. Too real, perhaps, but I think it has potential.
I concur.
Let's never do that again.
Agreed. And as you so eloquently put it, Miss Claremont, perhaps the spell is broken.
Mary, you must publish this.
It looks as though you are a true writer after all. Mary Shelley.
I suppose I am, aren't I? I shudder to think of the dark corners of my mind that birthed such horrors. I suppose I must delve deeper into them. to fulfill whatever destiny the Doctor saved us for. I pray that I find the strength in time.
And now, our new friends and family. As we return to our own world of phantasmagoria, I fear our time with you and the Doctor has come to an end. For now.
For now.
For now.
For now.
Tonight, when you return to your rooms and snuff out the last candle.
And you see a shadow shifting in the corner.
Know that we are there.
Till we meet again in your darkest dreams.
For us, time is always.
Our dear friend Christian, to you, my friend.
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
It's a weapon.
This Halloween will be your last.
Was I really supposed to follow that up? Was I really supposed to follow that up? Well, that was gorgeous. But folks, we're going to be interviewing Phantasmagoria in just a moment. As you just saw, we just had our commercial for Halloween Horror Nights 2 with Fan Expo. So tonight, right after our interview with Phantasmagoria at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, there's a link at the traveling at the Facebook.com, the traveling card to catch myself, and the traveling card is heading over to Fan Expo to talk Halloween. What else? Halloween Horror Nights. But also, don't forget, if you've been enjoying this, don't thank us. Thank our friends at Geek Insider, and don't forget to subscribe at geekinsider.com.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, we're done here, Melanie. I don't know what else to say at this moment. That was
Well, I believe a lot of people absolutely adored your performance.
It was, that's not even an, darling, Donna Carlene, bravo. I'm just like, that was just gorgeous, Lord Byron. Thank you so much. That was wonderful, guys. So, just for those of our friends while we're wrapping up on our final episode and wrapping up our Halloween specials, we had some wonderful specials here. We had 3 of the monsters do a little game show earlier in our second episode, our very first episode. We had some panelists, some UFO experts and some paranormal experts who come on and ask the question, does the Doctor believe in ghosts? Where everybody got to challenge and see if we could convince the Doctor if he or she believed in ghosts. And now we have Phantasmagoria. Wow, I'm just blown away. I'm sorry. I was trying to see I was going like, okay, let's see if they can do a 4 segment. They don't know. If we don't tell them, they might do something. So, by the way, happy birthday, Lord Byron.
Thank you, dear Han.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about Phantasmagoria, how everything got started to our friends and fans. But first of all, if you don't know anything about Phantasmagoria and you love Halloween, there's something wrong with you. But just in case, tell them a little bit about yourself there.
We started about 11 years ago in Central Florida first. We're also in Atlanta and St. Louis. We have troops in those two towns. We started as a circus, a Victorian horror circus. We were going to do one show in 1 year. And now 11 years later, we have done multiple main stage shows, touring shows, Christmas shows, because we do our own versions of. We have also toured around both virtually and in real life. And we do probably about 100 or more events per year. Those kinds of things. We've expanded from a small troupe of about 18 to about 79 members across the country right now.
Oh yeah, we're wow.
Part of the main stage troupe right there, yes.
Wow.
And we were performing just in February with the Opera Orlando. We were performing a big collaboration with them, our second year in a row performing with the opera, when COVID hit. And which we refer to as the plague. So we immediately moved everything online, whether it was our weekly episodes that we do, or our, Zeus gave us this thing called Zoom. So we do Zoom episodes, and or visiting with guests such as this on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
And you started doing something that I thought was just wonderful, because I loved it, and I wish you guys would expand on it. But the last Spooky Empire that I got to see you guys at, you had a little bit of a maze going on.
Yes, oh yes, we did that with Rob Cometti came to us and asked us. He does these wonderful exhibits and setups, and he came to us and said, "I want to do something special. Will you write a story around it?" And we said, "Oh my gosh, yes." And Rob and I have talked about further doing that kind of an event and expanding on it. It takes a lot to put that together, though, as you can imagine. More so from our side and from his side. So it's a difficult thing to do, but we loved doing that. That was so Halloweeny. We enjoyed it.
And let's bring our other guests on, Isla and Hawthorne. Did I pronounce that right? Isla?
Yes.
Melanie, shush. I always get the names wrong.
I have the easiest
you got
name
it spot
to
on. I
pronounce.
was the one that screwed up.
Isla, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you joined this wonderful circus out here.
Yes, so I have been here for about a year, a little over a year now. I auditioned before the plague occurred, blessedly, and didn't know what I was getting into. And now here I am, fully intertwined with the chaos of Phantasmagoria. It's been a joy ever since.
Gotcha. That was a lovely Isla, and now we have the lovely Hawthorne.
Oh, well, thank you.
Glorious hair. Look at
Thank you. It's my defining trait. I joined at the same time that Isla did as well. I've actually been working with Byron. I'm not going to say his real name because that seems like that would be breaking character, but I've known him for over a decade and a half at this point. I worked college. He was my professor, and that's how him and I started working together. And then I've been working on this for about a year. And other than that, I also, I'm a performer in town, and I write as well. I've written and directed a number of shows at Fringe. So yeah.
So where did your passion come for this, Lord Byron? I mean, what was the catalyst that said, I have to start this troupe? And what was your first impression after you did your first performance?
To be quite honest with you, and this is why this just fits so perfectly. And I saw that somebody over here said, what a wonderful mashup of genres. And thank you for that comment. It was this. As a teenager, I saw the movie Gothic, the Ken Russell movie about Byron and Shelley and Diodati. And before that, I was a great lover of Hammer horror films. So it all kind of blended in my brain. And for a good almost 20 years or more, the idea of a Victorian, a horror circus was in my brain, but I didn't know what that meant until about 2010, when everything kind of gelled together, and all of a sudden we did that, and we did not know how people would react. So we did this performance, and it went very well, and all of a sudden we're getting great reviews. And about halfway through the run of it at the Orlando Shakespeare Theatre, the Lounge Shakespeare Center in downtown Orlando, an audience member said to us, "Oh, what are you going to do next year?" And we're like, we didn't know we were going to do it next year. So we all stood together on the last night of the show and held hands in a huge circle. And I said, do you want to do it again next year? And they all said, yes. And then I said, well, the problem is, though, if we do it more than once, we have to write a whole new show. So we have never duplicated a show. We definitely we use stories in our touring shows that we've done in our main stage shows or in like the train shows. So like we were performing in a wonderful train at Tavares. And we'll reuse some stories there, but our main stage shows will never duplicate a story.
Wow.
So we've had about 120 stories at this point in the main stage shows that we've told. Yeah.
And Melanie, when I talked to Lord Byron about this, when we were talking about bringing on Phantasmagoria to perform for us, it was Lord Byron who found out about the haunting of Villa Diodati, and then all of a sudden his fangirl went completely insane. And I think we had a discussion over the telephone or whatever you had back then, and it was just, we have this, I have this, I have this, I have the perfect people. These are Whovians. I'm like, oh my god.
I'm going to tell you, Christian, we all watched it. We all had the opportunity to see it, and I was floored by it. I was floored by a lot of the actual historical accuracy of it. It was incredible. I was floored by the in-jokes that only people who knew anything about Byron and Shelley would actually get. And it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And Hawthorne and Isla are actually very large Doctor Who fans. And I want to give some kudos here. While I will write the tales, meaning like I'll adapt Frankenstein, Vampire, and all that stuff and do the intros, Hawthorne wrote all of the wonderful dialogue between Byron and Polidori and Mary and Claire that took place in the Doctor Who universe. And Isla, of course, was part of that as well. She was collaborating with Hawthorne. So without the two of them writing with us, this would have not been a Doctor Who mashup.
It was such a blast getting to play in the universe a little bit and drop in as many hints as I could without making it too much one or the other. We wanted to showcase what we do, but we also wanted to give the fan service, as some people might call it. But hopefully we were able to weave that back and forth. And Isla is I do really enjoy Doctor Who, but she's an even bigger fan than I am. So she checked my work to make sure that everything was copacetic. Because if I've known anything about fans on the internet, they occasionally might get a wee bit riled up when there are mistakes about continuity. I've heard.
There are Whovians that will take you to task there. And speaking of taking you to task, let me go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I had to tell Lord Byron, I'm like, we have to put the timey-wimey reference in there.
Yes.
And I mentioned 13th Doctor, all the yes, I fans, I tried to do right by you.
No, and it was terrific. And I was, when we got to the third segment, I was sitting in my seat going, and then Lord Byron goes, "Okay, Christian, now you." I'm like, "Oh, I got to put a commercial on." Now, folks, for those of you just joining us, welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil. Melanie Dean is on the other end over here. If you're watching us on the Facebook and the YouTube channel, and also we have a question for you. Because if you go now to the Facebook page, facebook.com, The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, we have a question for you. Vincent and the Doctor, or Vincent and the Doctor?
I like that. Yes. That's incredible.
So we're going to be, for the remainder of up until Halloween, we will be putting out music videos, music movies, clips from Doctor Who, your favorite pictures of the Traveling TARDIS, both past and present. And I've got a confession to make. I went to St. Augustine and took pictures of the Traveling TARDIS at the Torture Museum on the second floor. And I don't think I'm going to be putting them out anytime soon. I looked at the pictures. I actually put in an album. I looked at them over again and again and again. I said, there is no delicate way.
Some of them you were able to. Some of them you were able to. Other ones, I think they were more indelicate and you did not need to. And
not safe for work.
Not safe for anybody.
Not safe for life. Keep him out of Facebook jail.
I don't know if you've ever been to the Torture Museum, but they were talking to me, and they even spoke. I was nice. They were talking to me as if it were a normal conversation. Oh, about the torture devices in the back. You know what I'm talking about, Arthur? the sexual devices. I'm like, and he just spoke to it. Yeah, he just spoke
the
to
ones
it.
that we don't show to the general tourists. If you want to see the real stuff, just follow me this way.
Exactly. I felt like I went into those old, those old deviant movie old places where they had the VHS tapes, and then they had that one room that went nowhere, and if you
behind
were
the curtain,
exactly. If you were the unlucky one, going like, "Oh, the bathroom's this way." Wow. Well, I'm not going in here. That's for sure. This is a different religious experience altogether. There, Lord Byron, Isla Hawthorne, Lady. Oh God, I'm gonna get it wrong. Lady Cimmerian.
Yes.
Lady Cimmerian.
Very good.
Thank you so much for doing this for us. This was a treat. This wraps up our Halloween specials for the month of October, and what a way to end this. And I've been told by Lord Byron himself this is probably not going to be the only time you return for our Halloween specials, and I will be totally honored by that when you guys.
I'm trying to get him to do the Christmas Carol episode, because we do a Christmas Carol production every year, and I said we should do the Christmas Carol episode, but that's just me.
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me, because if I fangirl Lord Byron, I say, okay, here's the episode that I want you to do. It's I wanted him to do a Christmas a Christmas Carol, that version. But no, we'll talk about if we ever go down that road there. What's that?
Call my agent. We'll talk.
Your agent John, by the way, happy birthday to John, your agent.
I'm not sure I'm familiar with this person.
No, I'm not. He just answers the phone as far as I'm concerned.
Secretary.
Well, thank you so much, gang. And don't forget, if you are here on the live feed, meet me at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. The link is in facebook.com, The Traveling TARDIS. Join me for Fan Expo for Halloween Horror Nights 2. They're big fans of this boy. Very big fans. One more plug. PHANTASMAGORIAOrlando.com. And those for you who are listening on the radio show, and hopefully you're not driving, PHANTASMAGORIA Orlando, and you also have the Atlanta division.com.
It's spelled exactly as it sounds. I don't see the problem.
But just in case, well, I'm not good at that. I told you I'm horrible with names. I think I put E's in where A's should be and U's where O's should be and all that. And it took me a while.
I love it.
So any last words before we let you go there, team?
Just keep in touch with us. We have a main stage virtual online show playing right now where you get 29 of our members. We just got an incredible review today in the Orlando Sentinel on the show. And it's called Phantasmagoria 11 Plague Tales, and it plays through the end of the Halloween season. So if you go to our Facebook page or our website, you'll be able to purchase tickets worldwide for our main stage show.
Excellent there. Also, Melanie, I am happy to report we've got one more. We're getting closer to our goal.
We're not at 40 yet, are we?
No. So let me tell the folks, we want to thank you so much for spending your time with us, doing these live, watching us on this live YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. The original goal at the end of this month, when we were teetering around, when we started before the coup started, was to bring up to 35,000 Facebook subscribers. We have jumped that hurdle more than I can say that I can think of, and now people are moving our barometer. We've had to move the needle. So as of right now, I'll pull it up. We are now hovering, and people are placing bets. This is what's driving me nuts. There might be cash in it for me. I don't know, but I'm going to say this. A lot of people are betting that we were going to get to 40,000 Facebook subscribers. We are now hovering at, exactly at the moment that I read this, 39,518 Facebook subscribers.
Boom!
Get your friends. I do have money in this.
You just got a new one, so that's one more.
And while you're liking our page, make sure you check out the one below. Exactly. Make sure you give them a like as well.
Please.
Facebook.com/Phantasmagoria Orlando.
So thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe out there, folks. Please, whatever you do, happy Halloween. Please stay safe. Wash your damn hands and wear your masks. I'm sure you're going to be enjoying that on the 31st of October. So thank you so much again. And always always become part of the legend.